Kabiru, there hasn't been much agitation in the last 2 weeks, but with Nnamdi Kanu's arrest, there are reports of unease in Imo State. What implication does this have on the cessation of violent attacks on police formations?
In any circumstance where a leader of any particular group is limited from his ability to perform his functions, that action will have an impact on the group, at least in the short term. Now, what contingency arrangements the indigenous people of Biafra has in place for situations like that will determine how this evolves. The structure, we know that was arrested in 2014-2015. The group still continued with activities. It was able to recruit a lawyer. The lawyer was able to stand through the trial and all that. So it appears they have some contingency arrangement to allow for continuity even when their leadership is in detention. And this is what play out. Of course, with a statement released by the indigenous people of Biafra confirming the arrest and of their leader and asking the federal government to follow constitutional means in terms of their attempt to prosecute him. So it doesn't seem effect or impact on the secessionist agitations within the Southeast, at least in the short term.
Now, at some points, the UK was accused of shielding Nnamdi Kanu. What do you have to say about the collaboration between Nigerian security forces and the Interpol?
So Nigeria is a signatory of the agreement that set up the Interpol, and I know they have an office here at the police headquarters. They've also got their operatives there. I also know that the Interpol has collaborated with Nigeria extensively beyond what is in the public. Interpol, it's a police unit that is international and is not allied to any particular country. It has its rules, and as long as you comply with those rules and then you are going to get the benefit of being a member of such an association. Now, with regards to the UK's involvement or lack of involvement in Nigeria's desire to prosecute Nnamdi Kanu, let's remember that Nnamdi Kanu has dual citizenship as far as we know. He's Scottish citizenship, and so the British is obliged to protect its citizen to the extent that that citizen has not broken any of its law. Now, what kind of agreement does the UK have with Nigeria with regards to support for enforcement of Nigerian laws, as well as extradition treaties? Those are things that expected our international lawyers, especially the Office of the Attorney General, to have pursued. And it appears that this is what it has done to achieve this I would say, phenomenal law. The only permit, and of course, the British people, the British government has its interest. Now, how Nigeria projects its interest vis-a-vis this British interest is what played out over this period that Nnamdi Kanu jumped bail until, of course, this weekend when he was arrested and executed.
All right, what's your take on the Yoruba People's Rally set to commence on the 3rd of July to be spearheaded by Sunday Igboho?
First off, I would like to recognize the universal right of association and to protest. I think it's the right of every citizen or group to do. However, it must be in certain confines of the law. And that is where I would say the role of our security agencies to ensure that there is no breakdown of law and order in a constitutional manner is maintained. In other words, Sunday Igboho and his supporters have the right to protest, but the law enforcement agencies have a right to protect citizens who are not interested in the protest, who would not want to be stopped from their day-to-day activities by the protesters. What other countries would do is to identify the routes that the protesters will go through, the locations that the protesters will stay, and then use law enforcement means to ensure that protesters don't go outside of those routes and do not disrupt public movement and activities within the state. Unfortunately, the agencies don't do that. They wait for these protesters to gather, and then they attempt to forcefully disperse them. And that is when sometimes occurs. the role of politicians is also to, watch and be a bit concerned. We've seen how Sunday Igboho has been mobilized. The last time he did a rally in Osun State, he came with about 10 Hilux, this brand new Hilux van. The cheapest Hilux at the moment is around 18 million. And if you could come with, talking of about 180 million naira. So it tells you that he's probably being bankrolled, and whoever is bankrolling him has an objective. And so those are the things that we're monitoring ahead of how those that are bankrolling him would project the protest and what responses Nigerian agencies would met out to him and his fellow protesters.